Come on! Yeah! All right, everyone. Welcome back to American Blues Podcast. Chelsea, West Ham 3-2. First time we've come back from 2-0 down at home to win it since 1987, the year I was born. Old as shit. Since before the Premier League era, but unbelievable. If there was ever a game of two halves, that's so far, that's just Liam Rossinier style. Game of two halves. We did it today. Absolutely atrocious. Booed off the field at halftime for the first half. Embarrassment. And then second half, every single substitution made a massive difference. We got the crowd behind the team in a way that I have not heard in a very, very, very long time. My God, that stadium would have been fun to be at today. But holy shit. Why can't we just get it done in the first half? I am exhausted watching that game. But let's start with the beginning. We just had a midweek game. We have game after game after game. So, of course, he had to rotate today. The lap started. Garnacho started. Hato started. Badiashile started. Gusto started again. And that first half, my goodness, man, that left side between Badiashile, Hato, and Garnacho, and I have to put majority of the blame on Garnacho. Not tracking multiple times. We are getting so exposed on the right. Hato being pulled out of position, which then pulls Badiashile out of position, which then pulls the entire midfield and defense out of position. And we just again and again and again. And Garnacho, if you're not going to defend, man, when you attack, you've got to do something against Wan-Bissaka, who's 36 years old? I forgot how old he is, but he is well beyond his best. For you to not take him on with multiple 1v1 opportunities, just horrendous, man. Just probably the worst I've seen Garnacho play since he joined Chelsea. Yeah, just nothing going forward, nothing going backwards, losing the ball, running into Wan-Bissaka. Nearly none of his crosses went through, or he just refused to cross. And it was just bad. It was just bad on that side. And I think it started with Garnacho just constantly not tracking his man. And of course, Jarrod Bowen, who I love Jarrod Bowen. I think he's fantastic. I think he is one of the most underrated wingers in England. And he was facing away from goal when he put in that ridiculous cross. Just a perfect cross where Sanchez could not do anything. If he went early and the guy touched it, he would have been blamed for going early. And he had to wait until the forward missed it. And by then, it was already too late, curled into the corner. Goals like that, fine. You got to applaud. Maybe you can give Garnacho a little bit of grief for not stopping the cross in the first place. But, I mean, Bowen was facing away from goal. Like, you do not expect anyone to put in a cross that perfect from that position. So, good for him. But that second goal, and even leading up to second goal, just again and again and again, we were broken so many times on that left side of our defense. It was horrendous to watch. Again, multiple people pulled out of position. Garnacho not tracking, and they hit a hard cross into center. And Gusto, unfortunately, let Somerville, who is, I think, faster than him, to be honest, get a really nice hit on the ball. Sanchez got a hand to it, but I think it was just hit with so much pace. Nothing he could have done. 2-0 down. And honestly, the first half, we could have easily been 4-5-0 down with how many chances we gave away, if not for West Ham just not finishing their chances. So halftime could not come soon enough. Actually, this game, I would have wanted changes to be made immediately. Like 20 minutes in, after that first goal, I would want to see a change. But another unfortunate thing, Jamie Giddens had to go off, so Pedro Neto came on really early. I don't really understand what happened to Jamie Giddens. He was barely touched, and he had to go off, which is never good. That's never good. So I don't know if he felt something in his knee, if he felt something in his leg. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But yeah, that's It's usually not a good sign, but although he did walk off on his own, so hopefully no actual ligament injury to his knee. But man, second half, so many changes. Fofana came on, Badiashile went off, Garnacho went off, Hato went off. We had Cucurella come on. We had João Pedro come on. We had Neto move out to the left, Palmer out to the right. And João Pedro, man, what a header for that first goal. Fofana came out of nowhere with that ball, hit a perfect right-footed cross, something that like you would expect Reece James to hit, to be honest. And that was an incredible header by João Pedro. He had to full extension jump, and then he had to hit the ball backwards where it came. No pace. All he had to do was get the angle correct, and it was perfect. Absolutely nothing Areola could do. It just snuck by him on that far post. Perfect header. And once that ball went in, I was already feeling, I was like, oh man, are we about to see something special here? Are we about to? And you could tell the stadium felt it. Every single player felt it, because the way we played that second half is really how we should have started the first half. That's how we should be playing against a team that's 18th in the league. We should be dominating West Ham from start to finish, and not just dominating in terms of possession and passes completed, actual chances and just suffocating them. In that second half, West Ham had nearly nothing. They couldn't even get out of their half for the most of the half. And that second goal, what a second goal. I think Caicedo hit a really nice long ball out to Neto. Neto hit a perfect. Finally, you crossed well. Cross out to Gusto, who still had a lot to do, hit it back towards the center of the goal. And what an incredible save by that West Ham defender. He hit the ball off the goal line, off of Delap's head, onto the crossbar. Who's there? Cucurella, flying in header, 2-2. And at that point, I was like, oh man, I think we're going to win this game. And it did take a while. It took until the 91st minute, and not for lack of chances. We tried hard, and West Ham had a few chances to go ahead again, but thankfully we actually defended this time. And Palmer had a really nice shot on his right foot that was really nicely blocked by that West Ham defender. And then, of course, end of the game, João Pedro got onto the ball, hit a perfect cross into the center of the box, and who's there but Enzo Fernandez? All he had to do was connect well, and he didn't even connect clean, but he hit it at the perfect side. Goalie could do nothing. His momentum was already taking him the other way, and it was just wild celebrations. Enzo took his shirt off. I actually thought he had trouble taking it off. I was like, oh man, are you gonna be able to take that off, buddy? But he got it off, swung it around, threw it to the crowd. Amazing. What a feeling. And then, of course, at the very end of the game, craziness. Cucurella, being Cucurella, loves to piss people off. He was taking on Adam Traore. He fell over. And this is what I love about Cucurella. I mean, you could say he handballed, but he did it in such a clever way where he fell, and then in the motion of falling, his arm connected with the ball, took it away from Traore. Of course, Traore was pissed when he saw that, so he threw Cucurella to the ground, which I thought that deserved a yellow. And then João Pedro came to defend Cucurella, shoved Traore, so Traore shoved him back. So I think Traore deserved 2 yellow cards for that scuffle, 2 separate scuffles. He should have been sent off. And then Tobito came out of nowhere and tried to choke João Pedro, which I'm glad Vieira saw afterwards. Easy red, straight red. There was another check where, a West Ham defender tried to slap Palmer in the face, but I didn't really take that seriously. That was more like a love tap on the cheek. I don't think that deserved a red. And of course, final quarter of the game, Chalobah, strong in the air, defending against their goalie. Got it out, and we won 3-2. Absolute craziness. Honestly, for that second half performance alone, for the crowd, for the stadium, for the manager making those subs, kudos to everybody. I think the only people who can hold their head in shame are the ones that got taken off at halftime. Garnacho, man, my God, dude, you have got to work harder tracking. You cannot be on this team and not work tracking players, pressing 100% intensity all the time. And unfortunately, I think it was because of Garnacho that Hato got made to look really bad. And then because of those two Badiashile didn't really do that well on the left side either. So all in all, those three did not cover themselves in glory today, but they are young. They can learn, especially someone like Hato, who I have a lot of hope for. Badiashile, I don't really have any hope for, but I think Hato is legitimately a good player. He's aggressive. He just needs to learn. But Garnacho, man, all on you. You've got to learn from this game. That was an absolutely atrocious performance. Like, you've got to be better at taking people on, being decisive when you get the ball on the wing. And of course, you need to track your runners. If we play man-to-man, if even one man doesn't do their job, the system fails, right? Because then everybody else has to leave their man to make up for it, and then we leave spaces all over. So if we're going to play man-to-man, we need everybody on it. But incredible performance. Last thing, so happy to see Palmer finish 90 minutes. I think today is the first time where he actually looked fully fit. He looked with it. That very end of the game, that last shot where he could have made it 4-2, I think he was just exhausted. That was a crazy miss hit. He just hit it straight up into the air, and he was free in the middle of the box, and it was left foot. So I'm just going to put that down too. He was absolutely exhausted. This is the first time he's played 90 minutes right after he played, 60 minutes midweek in a really long time. So good for him. All I want to see is a healthy, happy Cole Palmer. But overall, now we're in fourth. Of course, depending on a lot of what happens between Liverpool, Newcastle, United, all those teams around us. But again, all we can do is to win our games. And we have done that this weekend. We won the game. We made it hard, but we still won. And that's the most important thing. And I just hope that, number one, Rosenior learns from this. Please, we just cannot start games, every single game being down. That eventually will catch up to us. We cannot always come back and score 3 goals. That's just not possible every single game. So we have got to learn from this. We have got to start games better. It cannot be a game of 2 halves. We should just have a 90-minute dominant performance. That's what I want. And of course, lastly, again, said it, I'll say it again, to the players that were taken off today, you've got to be better. You've got to be better. And then, of course, that's about whatever family issue that you have to fly back to Brazil for. Hopefully, it's sorted out so you can come back, because you can tell if we don't have Gins, we are screwed with just Garnacho and Neto. We need another winger who's actually dynamic and it can beat people one-on-one, which neither Neto or Garnacho seem to want to do right now. But yeah, fantastic game, fantastic win. Huge game next time. Arsenal, Tuesday, Carabao Cup. We're down 2-3. We're going to be at the Emirates. It's going to be tough, but Arsenal, I think, are very beatable right now, as long as we do not make mistakes. Don't make a mistake, and I think we can actually come back and win. So see you guys after that one. Peace.